Antique, the forms bear almost no relation to the remains, which, in the case of these styles, were scattered and almost impossible to interpret. But this drawing may have helped Palladio to envision the plan of the Church of the Redentore in Venice. In sum, the origin of sketching took many paths, not all of which emphasize creativity. The examples we have seen involve free invention without a goal, as in Alfiero and Leonardo, representation of existing works, such as Losio and Palladio, preparation for a work, such as Raphael, Bramante, Sangallo, Michelangelo, representation of the natural environment, as in the landscape of Raphael and Tolomeo, representation of an event, as in Pisanello, fantasy, Leonardo and Michelangelo's fortifications. What they all have in common, it seems to me, is a kind of invasion of propriety, in the sense of one's adherence to the current rules and theories of art. The very variety is an echo of the vast and irrepressible reaches of the human mind. Thank you. Feature improvised embellishments and credentials, such as we know were common in the time of Mozart, and it's marvelous to hear these things being done today. I suggest if you get hold of this recording of the Mozart G major concerto, will open your eyes to what a period performance of that work can really sound like. He's also a composer of the piano and chamber music, and has done an extraordinary job in completing, to his satisfaction, and I must confess to others, to the satisfaction of others, the Mozart Requiem. I've heard it here, and was performed here a few years ago, and I must say that it seems to be more satisfactory than the usual six-line completion. He's also completed several Bach cantatas, and has published a number of cadenzas and embellishments for Mozart concertos. It's interesting in his curriculum vitae that the last thing he puts is a small scholarly publications. The important things, I assume, first are the performing experiences and the recordings. Last of all, scholarly publications, which are along the same subjects that you would expect from one whose performing experiences and such. Today he's going to talk to us about experience, discipline, fantasy, improvisation in classical music and jazz. For sure. Yeah, I'll be playing. It's nice to see that. It's a great pleasure to be here. Even though this is quite an adventure, I had to go to the wrong airport before I went to the right one, because they canceled the plane as I walked in the door, and I had to drive an hour to get down here, so I'm very relieved to be here. Improvisation, of course, is not something you talk about, it's something you do. And so I'm going to talk about it, but I'm also going to do it. As part of an organic creative process, sketches can be rough and informal. Their gestation is shaped by impulsive inspiration. Each of those sketches can consist of the jockeying of a tune, bass line, or other musical idea or gesture, the working out of a complex texture, or a continuity draft in which the composer projects a tentative narrative in a manner similar to a chess grandmaster, plotting many moves in advance. The act of sketching often helps the composer clarify rhetorical and structural intentions. Some composers rely by simplification, others by elaboration. At all stages of the process, the composer draws actively and subconsciously upon all prior experience and influence. Notions of characterization, expression, drama, and structure are invoked throughout. Improvisation synthesizes all of these factors and thereby erases the gap between sketch and realization. Its rhetoric may be loose, thus preserving the informality of the sketch, or it may take one or more ideas and work them out cogently, as does a written-out composition. In all cases, it relies upon spontaneous inspiration. The improviser decides from second to second how fanciful or how organic the invented piece will be, and the result will be anything from an unordinary series of chords, like many of the preludes in Johann Sebastian and Bach's Weltfare Clavier, to improvised fugues. In the classical period, that is, from about 1770 to the late 1820s, the most commonly cultivated improvisational genres were the preludes, the fantasy, chants of variations, and cadenzas in concertos. The basis for improvisation in Western art music, from the Baroque era onward, is a coherent succession of chords, exemplified by the just cited preludes from Bach's Liturgy C. By coherent, I mean a grammatical hierarchy of states of tension that periodically resolve. The most common archetype is the paradigm of rest, tension, greater tension, and rest. 1, 2, 5, 1, 1, 4, 5, 1. And this is exemplified by the opening measures of any number of WPC preludes, as I would like to show you. Rest, tension, greater tension, rest, rest, tension, greater tension, rest. Rest, tension, greater tension, rest. As you see, Bach does not run out of ways to do this. The basis for improvisation, as I say, is this coherent succession of chords, and as demonstrated by the examples we just heard, the chords can be animated by sounding their individual components successively, broken chords, or by combining such broken chords with stepwise motion. The improvisation may remain in a single tonality, as is the case with Mozart's Cadences, or it may move from one key to another one or more times. It should be obvious that the ability to create a coherent succession of chords without prior preparation requires a thorough study and mastery of the principles of harmony. Not only must the syntax of the chords be coherent, but the horizontal connections between adjacent chords must be smooth and grammatically correct. That is, the melodic and contrapuntal elements superposed upon the vertical harmonic one. On top of these fundamental principles comes the capability to animate the chords as described above, and the animation must display some variety and freedom to convey both a sense of emotion and drama on the one hand, and a persuasive aura of spontaneity on the other. The second part of Carl Philipp Emanuel Bach's essay on the true manner of playing keyboard instruments, published 12 years after the death of his famous father, Johann Sebastian, concludes with a chapter on the free, that is, improvised fantasy, in which Bach suggests that the best way to develop the ability to improvise is to start with a predetermined bass line. The chord progressions to be performed across the bass are indicated by using figures that denote the distance of the other chord tones from the bass note. Such a figured bass, the so-called passo continuo, was used by Baroque and classical composers for keyboard accompaniment in sacred and secular works alike. For vocal and instrumental works, the harpsichordist or organist improvised the accompaniment to compose instrumental or vocal lines from those figures. Nowadays, few musicians are trained in this art, and printed editorial accompaniments are the unfortunate rule. The existence of the composed lines places creative constraints upon the keyboardist improvising from such a passo continuo, whereas, of course, there are no such limitations when using the figured bass for free improvisation. Philipp Emanuel Bach's precepts were widely adopted. As an example, I shall perform for you the first third of a pseudo-improvisation by Mozart that is based upon Bach's principles. You will see immediately why I choose that term. Mozart wrote it for his sister Emanuel, who was a fine pianist but lacked the ability to improvise. On several occasions when Mozart was traveling, she asked him to write her such pieces so that she could memorize them and present them as if they were improvisations. It is most fortunate, obviously, that these pieces survive. Atypical of Mozart's normal style, scarcely known, and rarely performed, they give us unusual insight into the world of improvisation in the late 1770s. It is worth noting that this piece is not metrical, and that it starts in F major and reaches E minor at the point in which I shall break off, ultimately ending in C major. That double conclusion, one time, which is frustrated, this accepted Tape's formula, and then the final rounding off. The foregoing example shows that a successful improvisation does not depend upon having one or more recognizable tunes to animate it. Nonetheless, nothing helps an audience orient itself to musical events as effectively as well-profiled tune. Thus, one may take the ingredients we have just observed and superimpose a tune and a regular meter upon Mozart's present. In honor of my colleague Louis Lockwood, I think I'll demonstrate this by using one of Beethoven's most famous motives. This is going to be somewhat irreverent, I'm afraid. But you will see that the rhythmic vitality of this motive will subordinate all of the other factors. Certainly not an experiment we want to repeat long. Mach's figure space allows for a continuous sense of forward motion and development. The classical period proceeded to inflect the narrative with balanced phrases punctuated by clear arrivals called cadences, and the so-called question-answer antecedent consequent became the general rule. All seems right for the world when you ask the clear question. An equally clear answer. If we add all of these factors together, rhythmically characteristic tunes, phrases that tend to be balanced, and a logical harmonic language, we can create an improvisation which is quite close to the world of composed music. If one of the members of the audience would like to suggest a melody by Mozart, I'd be glad to demonstrate the process. Would someone simply volunteer any particular tune you'd like? One that I think ideally will sound reasonably decent on the piano as opposed to sound disc. Well, you want me to improvise a fantasy? Yeah, I can do that, but I think we might be better off taking something which would work in a sort of sonata fashion rather than in a fantasy fashion. Pardon, which one? C flat, which one do you have in mind? 333? Okay. That's a tough order. It's a very tough order. But I have to take the rules of the game. And so on and so forth. One of the most characteristic forms of improvisation was the concerto cadenza, itself derived from similar cadenzas in arias, that is, sung. The orchestra interrupts the standard cadential formula. The artificial pause becomes the springboard for improvisation, and the springboard is chosen as it is because it is a moment when there is a dissonance, which needs to resolve. So there's something quite obviously artificial about pausing here. It doesn't seem immediately apparent. Try to imagine a piece that goes and stops. You think, wait a minute, there's something not quite right about that. So that's what that's all about. We're not even going to worry about whether I think about a particular concerto. I'm going to use a generic configuration, but the issue is going to be harmonic stability. I make no musical pretensions for it, but it's clear that the narrative goes on, and harmonically things are in a constant state of flux. I suppose I did it this way. You realize that there isn't really much excitement that comes out of that because you're so busy going, you're so much at home that in fact you wonder why the whole screen is going on. Improvising variations on a familiar theme was one of the staples of public concerts. Sometimes a composer like Mozart would do it on his own, but more often on popular arias of the time. But now you see to all kinds of standard manipulations, particularly rhythmic permutations. And there are also standard devices such as a minor key variation for a tune in the major mode, and of course vice versa. A slow variation with chord embellishment, and a fast final variation. Here are representatives from Mozart's perhaps most familiar set of variations, those on Album Quillet de Maman, better known, of course, to the English-speaking public as Twinkle, Twinkle Little Star. And I think these show very, very well how this process works. So let me just hold them to the proper page here. There we are. So his version of the tune is. But I'm not even going to pay more than that because that will be enough to show how the costumes are worn. turns out that the underlying chord progressions, which jazz musicians call the changes, are at least as critical. This is clear in several of the Mozart variations, which abandon the elementary shape of the melody in favor of a free-ranging texture based only upon the changes. Now, in creating free melodic embellishments of the underlying chord progressions, Mozart and his contemporaries are using a technique which is very core of improvisation in pre-1950s jazz, which allows me now to move over to the gramophone instead of to the piano. There, too, the changes were key. There, too, the melody of the hit song was the point of departure, the decisive arbiter of the process, was the matrix provided by the underlying chords. You can see this in a peculiar, though wonderful way, by listening to the Art Tatum Trio's treatment of Anton Rubinstein's Once Ubiquitous Melody in F. The original melody, Slung, appears initially, but the repeated arabesques improvised by guitarist Everett Barksdale, and especially by Tatum, demonstrate that the 18th century variation technique survives intact. Let me also point out musician Slam Stewart's disconcerting specialty of singing an octave above his melodic improvisations, in perfect tune, connected coordination that would be utterly remarkable even if you were not making it up on the fly. So let's see if we can spare ourselves the usual agony of otherwise not too young person being able to make, unable to make a thing like this. See what happens. Says hello. That's not a good sign. Oh, it wants a CD. No, that's not good. All right. Yeah, you said this was going to happen. You wouldn't mind selecting the second spot. And then that would be that CD again. I hope so. A reminder, otherwise you hear something else which I like very much. Not now. Let's see, there it is. I just want to see. Sure, there will be some. Let's try to play that. Okay, that's great, but that's not the piece we want to do. Much easier. This is one of the disadvantages. This is Holman Hawkins' Mozart Jazz Band that created in 1937 Paris. But let's just go. Yeah, well, we should go forward just a little bit. Can we do that easily? Well, maybe when we play it. Or let's just play it. Otherwise, it'll take longer to find it. It'll take another minute. Hang on. No, I'll put that forward. Just leave it. It's all right. You may want one more line. This is Eddie Carter, by the way. And Hawkins, the genius of the session, gets the last leg. He's doing so well that Carter just erased the tongue to take another chorus. Here, go on, go on. That was supposed to be it now. Guitarist is Django Reinhardt, by the way. Okay, now we're actually going to hear.